Hey, what's up, guys? Glad to be back on Facebook and sharing a message. Hopefully this live post will serve some of you. I'm in my lab right now. I just kind of want to give you kind of a overview of what it is. Over here's our milling, our sintering ovens where we bake the zirconia. One of my design stations, our printer back there, and then our porcelain ovens where we do the baking. And so right now, so let's kind of take a step back and start at the beginning, because at the end of the day, it's always nice to get to the end. But if you don't know where you start in the process, it can be kind of overwhelming. This message is not just for doctors, but also patients to understand the process that doctors go through or technicians go through to make your final devices. What I'm going to be focusing on today is the zirconia device, monolithic, which I think is the best product out there for a lot of people. Not all, but most people. I think it's the best, strongest, most beautiful device you can have made. That keeps it simple. If you were going to troubleshoot it, you'd be able to go back and have that full design file to be able to create another device or temporary or sorts. When you start to break it up in different pieces, it gets a little more complex, and then it again, for certain patients it's what's needed, but for a lot of patients you don't need to go there. That's my opinion. So okay, now let's start back at the design. Okay, so if we look here, we can see the design. This is a unique case, quad zygoma, so the device is making up for a lot of the patient's teeth or a face. I do not like this. Patient requested that I make these extremely bulky to help fill out her face. I told her this is not a great thing for hygiene. She promised me she's going to take care of it. But here you go. So this is the one we're going to bring into the software. Okay, so let's go ahead. Once you save this, it goes into a file, and the file will be an STL with a construction file. And now we'll come over and we will bring it into this hyperdent software. And this is not extremely difficult, but if you don't do it just the right way, this can be a really frustrating thing. So once you get to this point, you process it. And the reason I already processed it was because sometimes it'll take 15, 20 minutes, 25 minutes to do it. So I already did that. But the critical element in this is, this case, I'll kind of show you. This is a unique case because you'll notice that I had a really tough time getting the patient full device inside there. You can actually see that I'm going to have to cut off the inside little edge just here a little bit. That's okay because I lengthened them a little bit. But this is the biggest puck they make, which is a 30. And I typically will do a little bit of layering with the porcelain too. And so not too concerned about that. You want to you'll know something that I do a little different than a lot of people is, I don't put these connectors on the outside if I don't need to. I'll just make the connector a little bit bigger and put them on the inside. It'll help support it. That way I don't have to do as much finishing out here. Okay. One other thing I like, just from a design perspective, notice how nice and smooth it is inside here. Being a little critical, if this was a little more concave, that'd be good. We weren't able to get the tissue to do that. And so, but if it's smooth, then water can get up underneath there. If there's a concavity and it's rough, then this is where you will have patients that have problem getting food in and out. So, okay, so once this processes, I'll go ahead and act like I'm processing this. It's saying it's out of boundary. Down here, you're going to see it start to show a percentage. And when it gets to 100%, then you're ready to go ahead and put it into the mill. Okay. Then your next thing is to get your puck and load it into your milling machine. This is a 30 millimeter puck. I often use B&D dental zirconia. This is I think a BL1. I also use OM2. This is, I think it's a nice shade. You have to do a little more finishing on it because it does come out a little bit light. But but I like it because it has really beautiful aesthetics. Also has nice strength, and so you put it in my milling machine. You're looking at anywhere from 2 hours. If I speed up the machine, sometimes I get like an hour and 20 minutes. But after that, the milling is done. So let's jump to where it's at there. Okay. All right. So you'll notice here that we have, this is what it looks like when it's milled out. All this is gone. Now, if I can take this out, and that's great. I can take this out and then take it off of the puck, or I can take it out now. I can cut this out. I'm going to cut it out now. In the case that I wanted to use this, it's already set, ready to go. And so I'll show you how I do that. I like putting on the back also the struts on the paddle side, because the nice thing is you don't hit the teeth in the front if for some reason you're trying to cut it out. Look, this only has one strut right here in the back, and it's still folding. It's pretty amazing. So do that, and it falls out. Make sure you have your hand underneath it. Pretty nice. Okay, so let's pull this in here. Okay, and we'll go to a different camera here. But let me kind of give you an idea of what it's looking like here. So this is right out of the mill. You probably see it better once you get over here. Okay, so this is what it looks like. These little, try to come as close as I can. We still just got to polish these off. So turn on our vacuum so that we don't suck in all zirconia in our lungs. Probably really loud. Let me just turn this down a little bit. Okay. All right. So I'll talk a little louder. But all we need to do is come in and just remove these pieces here. Oh, a little polish here. Not really a polish, but just cleaning up the. These are made for zirconia. You could do this after it's already sintered. It isn't pain. Oh, I tried it as much as I can here. like. All right, so the last thing I like to do before I put in the sintering oven is just look and see if I can give this any more contours. You know, the more designs you do, the better you get at seeing this in 3 dimensions. But I like to come back and just look at the anatomy and just deepen the embrasures a little bit. This is where you're going to get. This is where you're going to get the milling machine should mill to this, but if you put it on some of the faster settings, you don't go. It doesn't do as much detail. But I really like the hand. I like to do a little bit of a sculpting into it to give it what I want, and I just trust my hands more than I just like it, so not everyone does this, but what it also allows you to do is if you're in charge of the designs, then sometimes you can be a little faster, knowing that it might be easier for you just to do it in this, we call it green state. This is a green state zirconia, meaning it's been milled, but it hasn't been sintered. Okay. And when it's in green state, you can still carve it. You can still adjust it a little bit. I always think, like, where does something look fake? If, and this is a 15, actually, I don't know what blade it is. Probably look here. This is I buy them like this. I think it would say right on here. Well, if you're interested, let me know. I'll shoot you the information on it. But I like it. I think this is the fun part where you can just create a little bit more separation. What you're looking for is to make it look really real. You're really looking for a shadow to develop in here. And so when I've seen things I don't like, and I think that they look kind of fake, it's because typically the mill mills it too flat, and so there's a flat edge here, so you can see it. They're not like it's a bridge. But the trick is that as you do this, if I come in from this direction here, like straight on, it's going to leave a flat side. But if I come in from here, and then I come in from here, just see how it's going to create this really sharp edge, and that's what teeth look like. So again, I'll come in like this, come in like that. I'll just deepen it. And then I'll come on the back side here. And that you can do this with once it's sintered, it's just a lot harder because it's so hard. The issue that you have, one of the issues that you have when you're designing your cases is that, you load these teeth in individually, and you build a connector to connect these teeth. Well, the problem is sometimes the strength or the thickness of the zirconia gets really thin, and that coupled with trying to keep the patient as happy as possible as far as not having a device too bulky, sometimes what happens is that you have a connector or you have an embrasure, meaning two teeth coming together, and it becomes a place where you potentially could fracture. And so that's why I like to build them a little thicker, and then I like to carve in the last little portion of that of the connection between the teeth. I think that that's a wise way to go because, remember that the ExoCAD software really primarily is built for individual teeth. They've gotten better over the years, but that's one of my biggest complaints is that ExoCAD just usually it makes it too bulky. It overbulks the area where it's close to the gums, the intaglio area. It overbulks it, and then around the teeth, it can make it so thin so that oftentimes you have a device that can have places where it becomes vulnerable to fracturing. So, okay, so let's come back here. Okay. Yeah. I just come in. I'll come from the side like this. Sometimes you just get some roughness. Sometimes you want to create a little flatness. You think about when you make something flat, you're making it so that it looks bigger because light's going to reflect off something that's flat, right? When you want to hide something or make something smaller, you curve it, which makes it look smaller. Okay. We're just about there. Again, I oftentimes end up spending more time than I want because I just enjoy, it's almost therapeutic to do this work. And the best part about it is when you know that your case is going to land perfectly. I have in my practice, we did a lot of patients out of state. So they would come in and that was a lot of pressure, flights and all that, taking off time for work. So if it didn't turn out, you had people would be upset. And so I've done everything in this process to make it so it's as predictable as possible. I think that looks pretty good. Once we get into the next phase, then we'll be able to refine it a little bit more. Gums will come in here. Everything will start to pop. Okay. So last part, let me just change the camera real quick. There we go. So the last part is essentially just putting it in the sintering oven. And to do that, you just need to make sure you have your settings right. It's really pretty simple. So I didn't put I'm not sintering this with connectors into a larger frame. I can't remember the word used for it right now, but if you're doing a really good job keeping the device symmetrical, meaning that there's not one place that's really, really thin and another place that's really, really thick, then I don't think that there's an issue. I haven't had any problems with, sintering without a framework, I like this because it goes into my sintering oven a little better. So we're just going to go ahead and put it into here. And there you go. So not hard at all. Hopefully this was helpful to kind of see the process from when the design is finished, to milling, and then from milling into green state, and green state putting it into the sintering oven. I'll show you the next steps, maybe tomorrow, the next day. I'll start doing a lot more lives. If you're a patient, this I think might be helpful for you to be able to see kind of the process. It's actually a lot of work, more work than people will actually realize. That said, for a doctor that really cares about what he does, who really wants every case to land perfectly, they hates disappointing his patients, going through multiple try-ins or putting in something in the mouth that you just don't love. Taking this part back might be what you need to kind of spice up your life again, to get you passionate again. If your practice is doing okay and you're bringing an associate in, then you can create a practice just that does these higher end, more life changing transformations. I'm teaching a course. This is the first time I'm announcing it. It's been a few years since I've taught, and so I'm excited to be able to announce that I'm teaching a course that's going to start from A to Z. It's a 3-day course. We'll start with the process of surgery, actually the marketing, consultations, surgery, and then we go into design, ExoCAD design for doctors, meaning showing you all the secrets, the tips and tricks I've learned. It wasn't easy getting all these. People didn't necessarily want to give up their best information, but grateful for just being able to just push through it and learn as I go. But ExoCAD, and then we go into milling, printing, which is nothing too hard. Hyperdent, the CAM software. You'll see this, and then the really cool thing is actually layering porcelain and showing that process, being able to do it in a couple bakes. It's something that you can do and really enjoy. Honestly, this is probably the most. Listen how quiet it is. It's just peaceful, and yeah. So if you like this, designing your lab would be part of that course too. Fully digital from start to finish, using photogrammetry to intraoral scanners. We don't use any models. We don't use any stone. Only thing that we might do, we'll make a night guard, do a night guard. I print those also sometimes, but February 8th to the 10th, that's the date. If you're interested, I'm going to leave a link down here, and go ahead and sign up. It'll change your life if you're looking to go to the next level. If your doctor's done a ton of all-on-4 and has done part of the process, you're doing surgery, and maybe you're delivering the final devices, but you really want to learn the design software. If you want to actually buy a milling machine, or maybe you have a milling machine, we have technicians that are doing it. This will give you a lot more power to be able to, in a sense, it'll free you. You can train this. You can take that knowledge, and you can know that you're going to be okay if you have a little bit of turnover. And if you want to train your people, that's the best way you learn it too. So go home. I always recommend anytime you go to do CE, don't schedule anything for the first day, maybe 2 days, so you can just sit down and have a meeting and trainings with your team. Download everything. That's how you really retain it, So, but I talk too much. That's kind of my MO. But super excited to be able to bring these courses back out. For some of you that may have heard, but I am fully transitioning from clinical dentistry into full-time teaching with some coaching and consulting. I'm really excited to do it. There's a lot of reasons for this. I know I can make a really big difference in doctors' lives, and I can probably impact more patients out there by helping them get trained up. And really, life's crazy, and it was a hard decision. I'm not gonna lie, but it's the right decision for me and for my health, and for, at the end of the day, we gotta follow our heart. And I definitely know that I'm listening. It's good to listen. So God bless you guys. I hope you have a great day.